Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon everybody. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. This video is going to be maybe a bit longer, I don't know. I'm going to try not to get carried away and talk too fast. And please watch to the end, because at the end I will be making an announcement. I mean, you can just skip to the end, I suppose, or put me on double speed if you can bear it. But this video is all about the beginning of the end. As I have said many times in the past, if people do not want to be thought of as twats, don't do twatty things when you think nobody's looking, because one day maybe the whole world will be watching. I am, of course, talking about Christopher Bouzy, Omid Scobie and Jack Royston in this video. Last night, which is when I put my community post up, I saw an article that had just popped up on Newsweek, which is where Jack Royston works. I became aware of it actually through Christopher Bouzy. He had tweeted what he had said to Jack Royston of Newsweek, which is in the article. The link is below. I was astonished. Christopher Bouzy was tweeting really about what he has and hasn't said about Shalon Lester. And I'm going to read out that part, so you'll have to bear with me because I've got Graham's phone and I've got several windows open. Might take me a minute or two, and I don't have any editing facilities, not on this phone, or I'm cleaning the house today. Right, so I've had to go to the actual article rather than Christopher Bouzy's Twitter account, because Graham no more has Twitter than I do. Neither of us like Twitter. Now, the article which is in the link is titled "Prince Harry, Meghan Markle Threatened with New Lawsuit." And they're talking about Shalon Lester. I believe she featured on Dan Wootton very recently. Shalon has about 365,000 subscribers on YouTube. She's extremely successful. She has done videos on Meghan and Harry in the past, but largely speaking, that's not really what her channel is about. I'm not entirely sure, but I seem to recall her saying that she had once worked for Star magazine. So she gives a little insight onto various celebrities and who, in her opinion, leaks what and to who. So I'm just trying to find the Bouzy part, because for once I think Christopher Bouzy and I are in agreement. I'm just scanning down the article. Ah, here we go. So that's Bouzy told Newsweek, "Until recently, the name Shalon Lester was unfamiliar to me. There had been no reference to her in any of our reports." That would be at Bot Sentinel. "And I did not comment on her in the Meghan and Harry docuseries." I don't think he did, actually. Given this, now this I find incredulous that he said this, "it is somewhat perplexing why she has chosen to step into the public eye at this juncture." Well, it's because Meghan and Harry used her face and put stuff out there about her channel, which she feels is defamatory, and has linked and likened her to something. That's why Christopher Bouzy, she didn't just pop her head up and say, "I'm Shalon Lester, look at me." No, they, Meghan and Harry, of which they had full editorial control of that Netflix docuseries, they chose to put Shalon's face and two other YouTubers who I'm not familiar with. He goes on and says, unless it's with the objective of enhancing her visibility in the media and thereby potentially boosting traffic to her YouTube channel, I don't think that Shalon Lester, Bouzy, with all due respect, needs boosting her YouTube channel. But this video is not about Shalon. She's a big girl and I can see she's quite capable of defending herself. The fact of the matter is, Chris Bouzy didn't mention Shalon Lester in his report, I don't believe. I never downloaded it myself because I'd have to go out and buy a device and download it and then throw the device in the bin, because I don't trust anything. I don't like downloading any app anyway at the best of times, let alone Bot Sentinel or Spoutable. No way. I believe that there's potentially a risk of exposing your private data. And I remember Wally reading out all the terms and conditions. It basically gives a lot of control, if not all. But no, I don't believe he did mention Shallon Lester. Now, I recall very well, in the weeks leading up to Meghan and Harry releasing their docuseries, Chris Bouzy tweeting and saying, "I'm going to be in it." I believe I did videos at the time saying, will he mention Yankee Wally? And when I watched it, I knew who he was talking about. He knew who he was talking about. And I believe Meghan and Harry knew full well who he was talking about. He was talking about Yankee Wally, Murky Meg, and according to Taz. That's who he was talking about. He wasn't talking about Shallon Lester. That was a last-minute edit. And I'll tell you why. Because they realised it's not a good look for the kindfulness and compassionateness couple, the philanthropists who wander planet Earth, spraying their whatever everywhere, to be seen picking on someone in their 60s who lives alone with 2 cats. That's why they thought, we can't do that. Remember, these are the 2 people who made the late Queen cry and didn't give a toss about the late Prince Philip. So, you know, talk about ageist. Now, I have another window, because as I pointed out in a video the other day, Omid Scobie is very delicately throwing shade at Christopher Bouzy by tweeting an article to The Verge. I'll also put that link here, because I really want you all to understand what's going on at the moment, what I believe is going on. This is my opinion. This is all under fair use and fair dealing. This is my opinion under my free speech. I believe Omid Scobie is her mouthpiece, Meghan Markle's mouthpiece. I believe Meghan and Harry want to distance themselves from Christopher Bouzy. I believe Christopher Bouzy is being thrown under the bus at the moment. I believe that Omid tweeting to an article called The Verge, which really dissed and threw shade at Spoutable, couldn't even spell the name Spoutable correctly, and referred to it as an upstart that'll never replace Twitter. Poof! What's that piece of garbage? That's Spoutable as opposed to Spoutable. I believe that's what it was. Omid just stopped short of saying Spoutable's a pile of crap. I don't like Christopher Bouzy, nobody ever did, and we never had anything to do with him. So now I'm going to read a little bit of an article from the Steeple Times, run by Matthew Steeple, I believe, who's been a big supporter of Yankee Wally. Now, this article was dated on February the 21st, 2022. This would have been a month before Wally's channel was taken down, I believe. I think I'm right in saying that, aren't I, guys? He says, yesterday, in an 11-minute, 9-second YouTube upload that has been watched over 17,700 times and liked by 3,500 already, Quinlan shared a tweet from Scobie that described her as a racist and deranged criminal. He went further and claimed that this is what Omid tweeted. So Matthew is quoting Omid's tweet. I remember seeing this tweet. I may have a screenshot saved somewhere. I hope some of you guys do, and I bet Wally does. So Omid said about Wally, "Don't even waste a second on what that deranged racist criminal thinks. Leave it to the good folk at South Wales Police and Scotland Yard, whose fixated threat assessment centre have Sadie Quinlan on a watch list." So make no mistake, when Meghan and Harry made that particular episode for Netflix, they were not talking about Shallon Lester. Shallon was a last-minute afterthought of someone they just thought, we don't want the world looking at twatty behaviour. So they switched out Wally, Murky and Taz for Shalon and 2 other YouTubers who I'm not familiar with. That was Omid Scobie, well known as Meghan Markle's mouthpiece, saying that Sadie is on a fixated watch list by the police, which she is not. I have seen the emails from the police confirming to her she is on nothing of the sort and never has been. They're scared. They are really, really scared right now that all their twatty behaviour, it's not just going to be our relatively small community looking. More and more people are looking. And I, for one, will not allow it to be hushed over like the bullying allegations and reports at Buckingham Palace. I pray to God King Charles does not silence that one. Because if you do, Charles, if you do, you would be making a horrible mistake. You would be making a very good argument for the abolition of the monarchy. If you go that far, that little underlings can be bullied, reports can be created, and then because you want Meghan Markle, pay her off in some divorce negotiation, that's all silenced, hush, 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 shoo, shoo, shoo. That will make the case that the Windsors are consider themselves above us, and I don't believe the Windsors do. The Windsors take their job very seriously. I believe they are there for the people's service, not the other way around. Don't let Meghan get away with that, because I'm not going to let her get away with what she's done to Wally. Wally is my primary concern. She has bullied other people. Christopher Bouzy has. Chris Bouzy, why on earth would they have Shalon Lester in that programme? Why would they even show her face or mention her name? I'll also put links in the description where you can see Jack Royston knows exactly who Yankee Wally is. It's interesting, isn't it, that the recent article that Jack Royston's just written, citing Christopher Bouzy, and Christopher Bouzy has even tweeted verbatim exactly what he told Newsweek. Neither Jack nor Christopher have said it wasn't Shalon Lester we were talking about, it was Yankee Wally. Even Christopher Bouzy doesn't want to say it was Yankee Wally. Jack doesn't want to say, actually, it was Yankee Wally. All these people who picked on a pensioner who lives alone in Wales with her 2 cats, one of which only has 3 legs, bless him, Trippy, but that's beside the point. They don't want the world looking now and going, hey, Jack, remember when? Hey, Ellie Hall, remember when? Hey, Chris Bouzy, who are you? Oh, Meghan and Harry affiliated themselves in the Netflix docuseries of which they had full editorial control. With who? Oh, Omid Scobie, Meghan's mouthpiece, tweeted about Yankee Wally. So it starts to look as if Meghan and Harry have known all along exactly who Yankee Wally is. It begins to look, in my opinion, as if she had a price on her head. A bounty set by Meghan and Harry, possibly. I exercise that opinion and draw that reasonable conclusion for the benefit of Meghan and Harry, or Windsor, if he's out there, hanging his head in shame over multiple things, amongst which making his late grandmother cry. But that's not what this video is about. Now, Meghan and Harry had beefs to grind, and they did all that stuff on Netflix, which was the biggest mistake of their lives, wasn't it? I knew it at the time. Oh, the irony. Now, I'm going to tell you something, probably to the horror of at least one of my viewers, because he knows who he is. I've been in contact with a production team who've been tentatively looking at the possibility of doing a programme on me and Graham and me having been on the run. I'm happy to talk to anybody like that. The irony is that apparently the production company, the media company that are interested is Netflix. Now, I could go on Netflix and I could just blah, 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 tell the whole 100% truth, and I would probably ruin at least 4 lives. The lives of people I don't like, who have done me wrong, but it was a long time ago. I don't know where they are at in life right now. One of them actually pretended to have cancer in order for me to... Anyway. But I am now in a situation where I think to myself, I don't think I can do it. Because in order for me to do it and to tell the truth, I could potentially ruin people's lives. Even though they're people that disgust me, I'm not willing to go there. I can't think how I can tell the story and keep them out of it. Even changing their names. Journalists would dig and find. And I'm not willing to do what Harry and Meghan did. Oh, and I see Meghan now says she can't believe she's been viciously attacked. Meghan, you're a multi-millionairess married to the son of King Charles. You're a member of the British royal family, technically speaking, whether we like it or not, and she wants pity. Where was your compassion for Yankee Wally? Meghan, Harry, where was your compassion? Well, now I come to the announcement, which I've tussled and hummed and hard about whether to do this or not. And now I've decided, because the channel has, as I speak now, it is 2:10 in the afternoon on Friday, I think the 7th of July. The channel had 3,370, something like that, subscribers. She has announced the channel on her Twitter feed. Trevor has mentioned her in a video yesterday. But I'm terrified. I mean, every morning I wake up, I just check, is that channel still there? And yes, it is. She made a video early this morning saying that the Sugars have been placing bets to see if the channel will stay up or come down this Friday. The channel has been there just over a month, and I've been dying to tell you all, but I was so scared that if I told you that the bullies, like Bouzy and the Sugars, they'd pounce and they'd tear her down. I haven't been in touch with her for ages. I've been sitting off watching from afar. I understand the subliminal messages that she sends, and yes, Wally, you're beautiful. And yes, you do look like Helen Mirren. In my opinion, you're one of those beautiful ladies who's just going to get better with age. Yankee Wally is back on YouTube. Please God, long may it last. Please God, if there are journalists watching and that channel goes down, please go and watch her videos. They're harmless. And ask yourselves, why was Christopher Bouzy bullying her? Who was going to be featured on that Netflix docuseries? This is really, really bloody important. Dan Wootton, Daily Mail, any of you, Richard Eden, please, please, please bloody look and make the world look and make the world see what Wally has been going through. And then ask yourself, what did the palace staff go through? And ask yourself, why so many people always say at the end of cases like Jimmy Savile, not that I'm likening Meghan or Harry to him, they say, how could it have happened? And nobody said anything. Anyway, I'm getting quite emotional now, so I shall end it there. Thank you very much for listening, and hope to see you below.